Michael Jackson.
Thriller, Michael Jackson! Beat it, Michael Jackson! Yeah! Thriller, Michael Jackson!
Michael Jackson is remembered as one of the most iconic entertainers of all time. A man who redefined music, dance, and performance for generations. Known as the King of Pop, he created a global empire of influence, artistry, and innovation that few have ever rivaled.
And admire as an artist and a person, my brother, Michael Jackson.
Yet behind the glittering costumes, record-breaking albums, and unmatched stardom, there was a darker reality. One filled with isolation, endless scrutiny, and painful consequences that came with living life in the spotlight. Fame brought him fortune, recognition, and immortality in music. But it also carried a weight that ultimately shaped his downfall. To understand Michael Jackson fully, one must confront the real cost of fame that consumed his life. The making of a star. Michael Joseph Jackson was born on August 29, 1958, in Gary, Indiana, the 8th of 10 children in a working-class African-American family. His father, Joseph Jackson, was a steel mill worker who dreamed of his children breaking free from poverty through music. Michael showed remarkable talent from an early age, with a natural ability to sing and perform. By the time he was 5, he was already leading his older brothers in what would become the Jackson 5. Fame came quickly and intensely. The Jackson 5 signed with Motown Records in 1969, and songs like I Want You Back in ABC top charts worldwide. Michael, barely out of kindergarten, was thrust into an industry that demanded perfection and relentless work. While other children played outside, Michael was performing in clubs, recording studios, and touring across the country. What seemed like the fulfillment of a dream was, in reality, the beginning of a life where his childhood was sacrificed for the sake of entertainment. The price of lost childhood. One of the earliest and most tragic costs of Michael Jackson's fame was his lost childhood. While his peers experienced the joys of growing up, Michael was subjected to the pressures of rehearsals, performances, and constant public attention. He later confessed that he longed for simple experiences, such as going to the park, riding a bicycle, or attending school like other children. His father, known for his strictness and discipline, reportedly used harsh methods to ensure his children succeeded. Michael endured physical punishment and emotional pressure that shaped his insecurities. As he rose to stardom, he built an image of perfection on stage, but off stage, he was a child robbed of innocence. This deprivation deeply influenced his adult life, fueling his obsession with recreating childhood through Neverland Ranch, amusement parks, and his companionship with children. In many ways, Michael spent his adult years trying to reclaim what fame had stolen from him in youth. The struggle for identity. As Michael transitioned from child star to solo artist, fame demanded more than talent. It demanded transformation. His 1979 album Off the Wall established him as a serious adult performer, and his 1982 masterpiece Thriller made him the biggest star on the planet. The album shattered records, selling over 66 million copies worldwide, and catapulted Michael into a level of stardom few had ever known. Yet with this immense fame came scrutiny of his appearance, his skin tone, and his identity. Michael suffered from vitiligo, a skin condition that caused depigmentation, but rumors circulated that he was intentionally bleaching his skin to reject his African-American heritage. Plastic surgeries on his nose, chin, and cheekbones further fueled speculation about his self-image. The media mocked him mercilessly, labeling him Wacko Jacko and portraying him as eccentric and unstable. For Michael, fame meant losing control over his own narrative. His every move was dissected, his body scrutinized, and his identity questioned. The pressure to remain perfect for the public became a prison that forced him deeper into isolation. The isolation of global stardom. With success came a level of fame that was both unprecedented and suffocating. Michael Jackson could not go anywhere without being mobbed by fans and paparazzi. Every trip outside his home required elaborate disguises or security. In interviews, he expressed how lonely fame had made him, describing himself as one of the most isolated people in the world. His home, Neverland Ranch, became both his sanctuary and his cage. It was a fantastical escape filled with amusement rides, animals, and movie theaters, but it was also a place that reflected his detachment from the outside world. Michael surrounded himself with children because he felt they were the only ones who could offer him genuine friendship without judgment. Yet this choice became the foundation of controversies that would haunt him for decades. Fame had given him a kingdom, but it was one where he ruled alone, yearning for connection in a world that only saw him as a superstar. The media's relentless scrutiny. Michael Jackson's fame made him the most famous person in the world, but it also made him the most scrutinized. The tabloids thrived on his eccentricities, fabricating stories about his lifestyle, claims that he slept in a hyperbaric chamber, purchased the bones of the Elephant Man, or lived entirely on bizarre diets. Though many of these stories were false, they created a lasting image of Michael as odd and detached from reality. The nickname Wacko Jacko was cruel and damaging. Despite his immense success, Michael endured constant ridicule, which deepened his insecurities. He once said that fame had made him a prisoner of lies, where he had no control over how the world perceived him. For every groundbreaking album or breathtaking performance, there were 100 headlines mocking his personal life. This relentless scrutiny was not just inconvenient, it eroded his mental health, trapping him in a cycle of mistrust, fear, and withdrawal.
And the other side that comes with it. So they're so quick to call you strange and weird, but it's almost as if you're forced to be different, because it's not normal.
The weight of scandals. Perhaps the most devastating cost of Michael Jackson's fame was the scandals that defined the latter half of his life. In 1993, allegations of child sexual abuse first surfaced. Though he denied the claims and settled the case out of court, the damage was irreversible. His image as a beloved global superstar was tarnished, and whispers about his behavior became constant. In 2005, he faced a criminal trial on charges of molestation. The trial was highly publicized, exposing every detail of his private life to the world. Though he was acquitted of all charges, the ordeal left him broken, both emotionally and financially. He retreated from the public eye, spending years in exile and struggling to regain his footing. The truth of the allegations remains heavily debated, but what is undeniable is the toll they took on him. Fame had made him a target, and whether guilty or innocent, the weight of scandal destroyed much of his peace and legacy while he was alive.
Yeah, that's true in one way. That's true in one way, but it's hard to in my position. I try to sometimes.
The physical and emotional toll. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Michael Jackson's health began to visibly deteriorate. The demands of his career, coupled with his battles against stress and insomnia, led him to rely on prescription medications. Reports later revealed that he was dependent on powerful sedatives and painkillers, which he used to manage both physical ailments and emotional struggles. The pressure to maintain his image and prepare for performances drove him to exhaustion. When he announced his This Is It concert series in 2009, fans were ecstatic for his comeback. But behind the scenes, Michael was battling overwhelming anxiety and fatigue. His reliance on medication became a dangerous coping mechanism, one that ultimately led to his untimely death on June 25, 2009, at just 50 years old. Fame had not only stripped him of his privacy and peace, but also cost him his health, and ultimately his life. The price paid by family. Michael Jackson's fame also affected his family in profound ways. His siblings struggled with comparisons and conflicts, and his children were thrust into a world of cameras and speculation from birth. While Michael loved his children deeply, his fame meant they could never live normal lives. Even after his death, his family faced battles over his estate and the preservation of his legacy. The Jackson family became both beneficiaries and victims of Michael's fame, enjoying its financial rewards but bearing the emotional burdens of scandal and loss.
Well, I don't know people. I get afraid of people sometimes. It's a whole nother life that I haven't really experienced.
The legacy of a star. Despite the heavy costs, Michael Jackson's contributions to music and culture remain undeniable. He revolutionized the music video format with Thriller, Billie Jean, and Beat It. He influenced generations of artists with his innovative dance moves, vocal style, and boundary-pushing artistry. He broke racial barriers on MTV and became a symbol of global unity through songs like We Are the World and Heal the World. Yet his story also serves as a cautionary tale. It is a reminder that fame, while dazzling on the surface, can extract a devastating price. The very thing that gave him immortality as the king of pop also consumed his freedom, his peace, and his health. Michael Jackson's story is both inspiring and tragic. It shows us that fame, though often idolized, can carry a weight so heavy that even the greatest stars cannot escape its crushing impact. His music lives on, his influence endures, but his life reminds us that even kings can fall when the crown is too heavy to bear.